European botanists coming over as physicians with, oh, one of our eagles. Or David Douglas, who the Douglas fir is named after, who was a botanist physician with the Hudson's Bay Company and came overland. Many things named after David Douglas. Well, in the conifer world, there's a group of conifers that are the true firs, not the Douglas fir or something. And true firs all have some characteristics in common. This is one here we're looking at is a grand fir. True fir's foliage, typically the needles grow in two ranks, not always, but typically, so left and right. Some species, they do grow on the top of the stem, like Pacific silver fir, or the tree line representative, some alpine fir has a little bit more around the stem, but two per stem. The trunk usually is smooth, and this is kind of dark. I think it's got some lichens on it, but typically silver gray with lots of resin blisters on it, little swellings, and if you punch it, you're going to get a lot of resin and sticky stuff. Very aromatic, but hard to get off of your fingers. And the thing that makes true firs and unique is the cones. And I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show them to you because they're not pendant. They don't hang down. They grow up on the tops of the tree like barrels. They stick upright like this.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they don't, when they release their seeds, they don't fall off like Douglas fir cones here on the ground. They disintegrate scale by scale, leaving the core, which looks like little toothpicks growing up from the top branches of the tree. Kind of looks like on the crown of the tree like a little candelabra with candles growing up. They start as barrels and end up as little tapered candles. And true firs all have their cones that grow upright like that on the top of the tree. And true firs, they're in the genus Abies, A-B-I-E-S. So if it's an Abie something, Abies grandis, the grand fir, they have their cones that grow upright. Douglas fir, cones hang down. The bark on young trees looks like a fir on a Douglas fir. The needles look like a spruce growing around, but the cones hang down kind of like a hemlock or a pine. So that's again why it confused so many people. But we do have a few true firs. The grand fir is the fir that you'll see down in the Puget Lowlands here. As you go up the Cascades, say you're going up Interstate 90, you get out of North Bend, make that right-hand curve that the freeway makes around the terminal moraine of that ice lobe that pushed up, and remember the Sitka spruces growing up on the mountains. You're going around a terminal moraine there. You head up into this upper Snoqualmie Valley, you get into the realm of the Pacific silver fir, Abies amabilis, the friendly fir. And it forms pure stands from about 2,500 to 3,500 feet, 4,000 feet, beautiful big trees. Then you get above that, the tree line representative is the subalpine fir.
If you smell one of these branches, you'll smell the very turpentine aroma. And a lot of times people, they don't understand that conifer trees are more effective at conditioning the air in cities than trees that lose their leaves. And that is because when you climb one of these trees, you will get all sticky. What happens to particulates in the air as they blow through a tree? Those particles stick to the sap on conifer trees and they adhere, and then when the rain comes, it'll wash them away, or they will just be encapsulated in the bark. So these trees are known for being much better than deciduous trees at combating climate change in cities.
Mm-hmm. Conifers, so important and beautiful.
And these are indigenous.
Yes, yep, grand fir.
Is a noble fir true fir?
It is, Abies procera, and it's the tallest firs that we have are noble firs. And where we have the Pacific silver fir in this area, we have some noble firs. You get up to around 3,000 feet, but as you move further south, particularly down around Mount Rainier, lots of noble firs, big pure noble fir stands. And you can tell a noble fir, the cones grow upright. But remember the Douglas fir that had those papery bracts that hang? Mm-hmm. On noble firs, outside of their scales, you get a little bract that looks like a shingle that hangs out from the cone. And that's the only true fir in our area that has that. If you go further south, where I grew up, the Shasta fir. it also has shingles that come out of the cones. But yeah, we have noble firs here too, and it's a true fir. So grand fir, Pacific silver fir, noble fir, and the subalpine fir are all in the Abies genus, and they're the true firs with cones that grow upright. And the Douglas fir, Douglas hyphen fir, not a true fir, but now you understand all that. You know, you just have to live with the fact that, boy, why don't they just call things what they are? But now you had a little bit of the backstory behind that, why they got